Well, I teach math in a high school, and I think primarily what sustains me is that prior to working in an urban school, I had already developed skills as a math teacher, so I was already confident in my ability to do that type of teaching. I knew I could do it, and I've always liked things that are meant to be challenging. I like when people say that's difficult to do, so that's what I wanted to do. So when I started researching about different cities, I'm from Chicago, but I did look into teaching there at one point. I knew I wanted to go into a school where there was a lack of good math teachers, and that's pretty much every major urban city right now. So what sustains me really is the fact that I'm good at it, and there aren't a lot of people who are even willing to try that. They're not even willing to sit, like, there's so many people who just, you know, when I say where my school is in the city of Washington, D.C., it's in the southeast sector. It's geographically cut off by a river, so people it's already cut off physically, but it's cut off in so many other ways, and people say, oh, I can't believe you do that. That's just amazing. And I guess it's not really the way that I've always looked at it. But I do think that I get a sense of pride of the fact that people say, oh, I would never do something like that. I can't imagine that you do that. And I think, well, I do it with a smile on my face. I do it with enthusiasm, and I guess eventually if I get to a point where I don't have enough of that enthusiasm to really continue to make sure that my students are learning, then I might make a transition. But for the time being, it's great, and I love the school I'm at, and I love working with the students that I do have. I think what's frustrating is that high school students have already developed a lot of bad habits, and they come in through a system that allows them to continue on without learning what all of us would classify as a basic math skill. So they get to high school and they don't have it, and it's not my job to teach it, but a lot of students have developed a resistance to teachers and authority figures, but mostly just hard work. Like, if something's difficult, I'm not going to do it. And they'll say that to you on a daily basis. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do it. And you have to fight the willingness within you to say, well, if you're not going to do it, that's your choice. And you have to kind of communicate that with students and let them know that they're making that choice. But you also have to recognize that if you remove yourself from that equation, they really are going to stop in a lot of cases. There's not going to be someone else that stands behind them and pushes them. And they're going to continue to say that anyway. I mean, you guys remember when you were in high school, there were a lot of things that you just resist because you're getting to that age where you resist. But that's the difficult part, is that students constantly vocally express that they can't do these things and they don't want to do them when we're talking about things that are, especially for people who end up going to college and being successful, are just things that you just have to do. You have to get them done. Whereas sometimes the students that I work with just don't recognize that, and that's what's difficult, but I work through that.
Hi, my name is Bio. Boston. I'm from Boston. Lived in Boston. Grew up in Boston. Everything's Boston. Never lived outside of Massachusetts, so I came to Amherst College. So I would say the thing I like most, or what keeps me going. My school started in 2003, so it's a charter school with this first incoming class being 6th graders in 2004. So I was hired to design and implement the Latin curriculum. So I take a lot of pride in that. Saying that the juniors, I'm their only Latin teacher. This past February went to Rome, and a lot of their experiences is based on what I taught them. So the idea that I'm doing something new every day and I'm contributing like intellectual thought, I'm really passionate about that. Other things are coaching, girls basketball. Another thing is the staff. We have an incredible staff. Three teachers went to Williams. We joke about that all the time. So it's really a young, a vibrant staff, and the pedagogy is great. It's really high, so that keeps me going. One thing that's really tough is that it's kind of similar to what Mike was saying. I know what it takes to get into a college like Amherst, and I see the decisions that my students are making, and it's not going to. A lot of the decisions aren't going to bring them to an Amherst college. So I guess really defining what success is. Success isn't necessarily going to like a Amherst college, but to other schools as well. But then my students are also making decisions that are going to make them not be able to go to college. And that's really tough, because I define success as going to college, and I know going to college is what's going to let you provide for yourself and your family, but they just don't know that. And they've picked up so many bad habits, and they've been failed so many times before they've come to us in the 6th grade. And I guess in a sense, knowing that some of them aren't going to be as successful as I would like them to be, and like really having to live with that, knowing that's okay, and keep on going, having the strength and the courage to keep on doing, keep on teaching every day, keep on waking up in the morning, keep on putting in the long hours, despite the fact that I know that all of my effort isn't going to materialize in success. But the success that I do have with some students, that's special enough, but that has to be enough.
Maybe we'll come to this end, if that's okay.
Oh, sure. I think Michael touched upon like one of the things that was really important to him in finding a career was that it had to be something that was challenging and that he was good at. I think that one extra perk of being a teacher is that you feel like it's challenging, you can feel like you're good at it, and then you can also feel like it matters. And it really does. It really matters to the kids that you're teaching. Even if your one victory of the year is that you've taught a 7th grader who never thought that they could multiply to multiply, that's a big deal, because you've taught them that they can learn, that it's possible even though they're behind to start to catch up. And it really, when you do something like that for the kids, I mean, sometimes they're just like, whatever, I don't care about you, Miss Hawa. But sometimes they're really appreciative, and it really shows, and you can see it pour out of them in the way they act for all of their other subjects also. In terms of frustrations, I'm a special education teacher, which I hadn't said before. So my job is to work with those kids who feel like they can't learn, who are so disheartened because nothing has worked for them before, and they have in them somewhere a child who wants to learn but who hasn't yet. And I'm pretty good at motivating them and getting them into it, but sometimes I do feel like I'm hitting a brick wall. Like I've said something 8,000 times in 8,000 ways, and I've drawn pictures and tried songs or whatever it is. I've tried everything, and it's not working. And when it's not working, the same way that you feel really elevated by when it does work and you've done something for this kid, it feels like you're failing a kid who needs you when you just can't get them to understand how to add and what it means, or to like go up and down on a number line. And that failure is something that you take home with you, because the same way, if you feel like you're good at it and it matters, that's great. But if you feel like you're failing and it matters, that's really hard. It's something that's really hard emotionally to deal with, because they need to know how to add, and they need someone to help them with that, and it's not always easy.
I'll make a quick observation here. One of the things that can be true in many schools is that it's very lonely. Mm-hmm. And there's a big difference between a situation like Nancy's just described and one in which you think, I can't reach the student, but there are other people in the school teaching who can. So for instance, one of the luxuries of teaching a place like Amherst is not every student responds to my teaching styles or ways or bluntnesses or any number of things. And I can say most of the time with complete confidence, but that student has a very good chance of finding his or her teacher or teachers here. So having a staff that you're working with that you can believe in is a crucial support in itself. And it's often not there. It depends.